Okay, I'm back. So let's keep going on this rebirth journey. It's sort of it's see each one has its own flavor, and this is really quite sort of like a historical document, even. I'm still I'm like I never know what's gonna come, but everything always has value, weight, wisdom. So they're saying that this realization, this sort of reality that some human beings on this planet have always known this truth for all these years, that they could die and be reborn and never and still possess the memories, not to forget. In order that this sort of control mechanism would continue for so many incarnations, they would be infinite, super powerful. It wouldn't just stop at the end of the lifetime. It would just keep going infinitely. So it was like they would never die. They would just live forever, feeding off of the sort of souls that are trapped. Thing is that everything does eventually come to an end, even this. So everything that is born must eventually become reborn. So everything that is born must sort of play out its own incarnation cycle, and then it sort of dies and then is then reborn by the light itself. They're really showcasing that. Even darkness, sort of darker times and very terrible things that have happened, they do eventually come to the end of their cycle of exploration, and they must be reborn in the light even. So this is a big deal. This sort of demon entity that chose to face this is how it's coming to me. I'm just going to say it as it comes to me. You take this however you want. So let's just say the devil, right? Lucifer, fallen angel choosing to explore a different version of his own identity, chooses to sort of fall from heaven. So they're saying this wasn't Lucifer. They're saying this was somebody else, sort of. But it would have that sort of very, very profound demon entity. Demon entity so profound that even his ego, sort of ego of demon spirit, is sort of his vibration itself is the ego itself, sort of being bigger than all the creations of the infinite itself. So chose to come here to manipulate, and then to contain souls. This is sort of to show how powerful and incredible and amazing he is, that he this is a big deal. The only way I could describe it is he thought this was really funny, really fun, really enjoyed all the energy of the pain and chaos, really felt that he had sort of like the upper hand, really loved to sort of rub that into the face of sort of heaven, that he was doing this. But something has happened since then. What could only be described as he himself has also been reborn, through choice even. And I know that this is a real deal, and so I know I know about this. I already knew that this actually took place several weeks ago. I also had some sort of I don't know how to describe how I knew that this took place, but I personally did experience this sort of entity, and I did have a relationship. I did have an understanding of who he was. I'm not the one who actually rebirthed his soul. Somebody else had done the work, but I was aware of it taking place. And so now that he has chosen to sort of alter, sort of change his ways, He actually is like a very profoundly loving being. Even the greatest nightmares can choose light and a different pathway and be transformed by light and now be a reflection of unconditional love. It's shocking that it could just be like, oh, yep, you're forgiven. But unconditional love forgives all things and even holds all things with love and transforms everything by love. And so, yes, this identity then did, this was several weeks ago that this took place, maybe 1 month ago, that this happened. And then it was a really big deal. And so I do acknowledge that I know that this had happened. I can't really say how I know this. But so now that has happened, then this actually, he was sort of the gatekeeper. So for him now to be transformed in the light now allows the change to take place. This had to happen. He had to be transformed by the light. It never, that containment center would never have opened unless he had chosen to be transformed by the light. So we can also sort of like praise God, hallelujah, that a blessing indeed took place, that he would choose light, and now the freedom of all souls now can take place. So now this is real. So I'm making all these videos in parts, right? Because it's a really long historical thing. This isn't like your average rebirth journey. There's sort of like a history involved and sort of a lot more souls involved than just three. This sort of energy is really altering. This was a huge deal that I would reflect on that. Who and what that demon was. It was not Lucifer. They say it was not the devil. Different entity. But we would relate to it being. There's sort of a manipulation even of that sort of story. So that is not for this conversation. This demon was not Lucifer or the devil that we call the devil. This was different. This was a different demon. He was pretty terrible. He really it was the most delicious thing he could possibly do. Everything about what he was doing was extremely delicious. So for him to choose light is a big deal. And for him to choose to be reborn is a big deal. And there's so much love and sort of relief that has taken place now because of this. So they're saying that human beings there's going to be a lot of this going on because now that sort of human awakening 2016 is a really big year for the beginning of new things. Sort of like we died, like sort of like the 2015 was like the death. Now the rebirth is 2016. Like now we are born again. 2016 is like, so nobody ever dies. You're just reborn. So there's like this transition between what was and now what is. So a recycle or rebirth. And 2016 is sort of the unveiling. Demon sort of, this has a lot to do with the connection with the spirit realm and even demon souls and decisions made, influences upon human beings to do certain things. And then you have this super huge incarnation cycle of hell, basically. Demon souls now ruling the planet, so to speak. And so with this sort of huge change and huge alteration in the energy vibration, so many souls are going to feel relief. There's going to be profound healing taking place across the planet. And people are going to start feeling things and start wanting to be a part of a spiritual movement, even. A spiritual movement that is different. One that involves like crystal healing and Reiki healing and channeling higher wisdom and loving alien beings and a different sort of structure of society, even the way that we love and connect with one another. Giving back to each other. Gifts of love instead of putting a monetary value on things. People going back to the earth and growing their own gardens again. People choosing a whole new way of life. Because people feel it is time. People just don't know how to change. So now you have vocal pieces like me and so many others too that are going to be channelers of wisdom And see, I have to develop. I'm still working on becoming the best I can be, which I will do this whole entire lifetime. So what I am now and what I will be in 50 years is going to be a big difference. But I am doing the best that I can in order to share the wisdom, in order to help human beings, and then help the whole entire planet even. So, I have to get back because this Eye of Ra thing it keeps coming up, and then I see sort of a certain type of bird, and it's like a falcon. I don't understand why I would even call it that. I can't understand even how I'm able to see it because I can't actually see it. There's not a clarity that I need in order to feel like that confidence, but I know it is a falcon for some reason. I don't even know if falcons have a relationship with Egypt. I don't really understand it. But it has there's something about its beak being really flat and then curved. I don't know, it's not like rounded. It's just something about it having really flat sort of beak. I don't know what it is about it, but there's something stealthy about it. Stealthy about the falcon. I don't know much about falcons, but this is what I'm being shown. Eye of Ra has to do with something with falcons. I don't even know if that's true, but that is how I'm relating to the energy, the wisdom that is speaking through me. So, I'm seeing an Egyptian man. He is sort of sitting on a throne, and he looks very Egyptian. He is bald, but he does have sort of a piece of hair that is sort of left hanging, a patch of hair. But everything else is sort of shaved off or bald or something. And then he's tan. He's just naturally got tan skin. And he's very serious eyes. Something about that. He just seems so serious. Like he's thinking really hard about something, and they keep intertwining the falcon eyes, sort of stealthiness, with this guy as well. He is sort of a creepy way of the way he sort of wants to solve problems through sort of a darker version of problem solving. But there's something spiritual about the way he comprehends things. But I'm not sure. I'm not picking up on he being the unconditionally loving type, like a lovey bear or something. He's more like thinks really hard, really sort of the wrong vein of wisdom, sort of for not nurturing but harming others for benefit of self. But I'm still waiting for the wisdom to. He's moving. He's getting up and he's in action now. He's very swift, and when he makes a decision, he just does it. He seems to just know something. I don't know what knows, but he was just a thinker. He's back to thinking again. But this time he's smiling and warmer, and the sun is upon him. And he's even looking at a child. He seems to take part a sort of joy in being a father. The images are going so fast. There's sort of a dark cloak that is put over him, and sort of bound his feet, but he's still standing in a dark cloak that is over top of him. It's like a dark bag, a black bag or something. He's standing inside of it. Again, there's this sort of image of like a animal head. I don't know what kind of animal it is though. It's not a cat and it's not a bird. But it has a long snout. And it has like a pointy ears. And it's black. It's a black statue. But again, it's holding a golden pan of wisdom. Somehow this boy is involved now. Now the boy is in the bag and not the man. The boy's legs are kicking on the ground, not wanting to be in the bag, being forced in it now. There's such a quick flow of change of pictures and energy so fast, and decision making, not showing me any understanding of why things are happening, what is happening. This is interesting. An entrance of a giant serpent woman, even. She has a very. She is a serpent herself. She is the king cobra. So she has this yellowish part. There's such a huge energy about the snake entering on the scene. The snake with the fangs, even, and the tongue. Forked tongue. I can't understand the identity of this, but they're saying me. I came in there. So, and then I am also in a red energy. I'm not only a giant, enormous king cobra snake entering into this room. Sort of, I don't understand it. I have channeled wisdom about Egypt, and there was a brief moment where the snake came, and I was supposed to look at what I had done, even. So, there's still some sort of treachery in the feeling of it. They're asking me if I think that I had done something treacherous, and I say I wouldn't put it past me. I mean, I don't know. I'm a pretty loving person today, but who knows what I was days prior to this, lifetimes prior. I don't know. I'm just as vulnerable as the next. It just depends on what my upbringing was, what was in my mind, what was my how was I raised to be? What was my upbringing? I don't know what I would have been inspired to be like. Different circumstances develop different kinds of people, You can't always help it. They're like, do you think your soul is evil? And I'm saying, I know my soul has done things that were not kind. Yes, in that sense, yes. My soul has a reflection that would be considered evil. Is saying, do you think you are evil today? And I say, this person that is speaking right now definitely does not feel evil. Definitely does not feel like I am trying to hurt other people. They're saying that I needed to say that out loud. Something to some sort of wisdom to come, and then that it was important. I acknowledge that now at this point in the video. So let's see what else comes. There's a really large sort of ogre type of man. He had a really terrible sort of he's sort of picking up people, and then he's just a big oaf. He's not a nice guy. He sort of got people, and then by their shirts, even, he's like, let's just say he's 20 foot tall, and he's just picking up people by their shirts and throwing them into a pile of people. And he wouldn't put it past him to just smash them with his foot, even. He just manhandles people in a way that is abusive. They're like, why do you think you're seeing this right now? And I say, I don't know, but that is what is being shown to me next. So I can just only go with what I see. So there's two eyes looking from above. Two eyes looking from above. Eyes that are dark. Looking through the sky, even downward at actions taking place. There was a lot of interconnected actions taking place between different souls at this time. And that sort of developed a domino effect, even. And so now we're sort of learning about sort of behaviors that were really inappropriate that created a great deal of damage, even in the history of mankind. So let's see what else. So, okay, so the giant snake woman is also a vapor of red, and inside the red is a white, a girl, a young little child in a white sort of dress, and she's sort of, there's something very pure and angelic about her, but she's still in this red vapor, and then sort of in connection or oneness with this giant serpent snake. The snake is the balance of both, the light and the dark. And so to be snake, you have to be both. You have to be both evil and angel. You can't just be a snake and not be full of venom that would kill or venom that would heal. Snake venom also creates medicines. So, in order to be a snake, you must be both evil and angel. That is the gift of the snake. So, therefore, yes, my soul has shown its sort of evil face. And has done very terrible things on the evil side of my reflection. But my reflection also has a very angelic side. That is the healing side, the medicine, the gift of healing side. So Snake can have two profound identities of both. Snake was on both sides of a fence in Egypt. Snake was both a profound voice of healing, but also a profound voice of terror, even. I had two different identities while I was there, both somebody who helped and both somebody who damaged. That is the only way I can describe it. I was soul exploring my own identity, even still, just as I am now. I don't like thinking about myself hurting others, but I do. I do understand. I do have sort of a connection with this wisdom and understanding that my soul is not just super loving. My soul has done quite a lot of damage too, and that's part of the development. It's part of soul growth. Even that demon that inspired this sort of trap for all of these souls, even he was sort of so terrible, but then he also turns into reborn in the light, and so now he too has sort of a severely evil but superiorly angelic version too. So we're trying to make sense. They want me to talk about Johannes now. It's important that we see all of these different faces. Even Falcon, Eye of Ra, this sort of Pharaoh guy that thinks, bundles even his child up in the black sack. Still no explanation for that. Even to see my soul as this sort of giant snake figure. But then now we need to see Johannes to see and make sense. Oh man, I'm getting exhausted. Something about sun rising. So we have a triangle, and then at this top point, there's a circle that is light that comes out. And I've seen this. Like, it's not just because it's on the dollar bill or whatever. This is real. There's actual real value to this. This is a real thing. I still don't know what it all means, and I don't want anybody to tell me what it means. I'm not going to go study or look this stuff up. I'm just going to wait for the wisdom to reveal itself when it is meant to. When I'm meant to understand what it means, I will understand it. Pyramid ball of light right here, and it is like a sunlight that shines outward, but in all directions, right? On all sides. It's not, pyramid is just not a flat surface. Now pyramid is dimensional, right? So now we're talking about dimensions, light that travels through all dimensions, light that touches humanity to change humanity, gift of light to open the eyes, light that opens eyes to higher wisdom, pyramid wisdom, the truth, revealing the truth of one's identity or soul identity, incarnation cycle, the truth of what is historical wisdom. I still haven't seen anything about Johannes yet. I just wanted to showcase this. More of these sort of Egyptian sort of hieroglyphic figures on a wall, painted on a wall. Man with bird hat, the falcon, very straight, and then straight sort of hooked there. I am in the pyramid with Apple and Johannes, and we're looking at pyramid walls. We are meant to leave that layer of wisdom with Pharaoh. I don't know what any of it meant. I don't know what that means. They never said. So Used to call this Pharaoh man used to call upon the wisdom of the falcon, sort of bird wisdom, eye of Ra type wisdom. He was so pondering all the time. But he pondered all the time and was sort of in always like a constant state of meditation all the time. This is also reflective of how I am. I may just be like living out, playing out a normal everyday human life, but I'm also always in connection with the spirit realm, alien beings. So I'm always in other realms simultaneously while I'm just being human. So I too am sort of always sort of collecting wisdom as the days go on, and then I go to bed and I wake up and it just never stops, you know? So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm always sort of in a state of receiving wisdom. And this guy is too. He was a deep thinker. And the roots of his thoughts ran deep into the ground. It's showing me he is a part of this Egyptian wall. His facade or his mark has been made on the Egyptian wall. We would know him. So, getting so exhausted. Sort of energy is just weighing me down now. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just sinking deep into the earth, into layers of the ground even. Not so high up anymore, but sinking down, being pulled down into this sort of darkness, where I can find the truth that was buried in Egypt is the only way I could describe it. There's like really dark tunnels of wisdom down there. What is the history? What is the truth? Do any of us truly know? That's contained in our past life memories. So in order to discover the true history of Egypt, now you have to explore your past life memories. I'm walking down what is like a canal of darkness, dark tar even flowing underneath the pyramid. This is all reflective of spiritual layers. This wouldn't be reflective of what would be there right now in the present. This is just how I'm translating spiritual layers in order to provide healing. Sort of thinking man is down here even, still thinking. I think he's pondering his choices or actions even. It's like he can't get out of his own thoughts. And this sort of whatever happened to this child was not good. Sort of it's really messed up. It's almost like he sacrificed his own child in order to be work with this demon even. That's the only way I could describe it. That's how I'm understanding it. He's still thinking. He can't stop thinking. He won't ever stop thinking. I need to just let him know that it's okay to let go now of thinking. Pain of action, even. Pain of choice. Can't stop thinking about choices that were made. Won't let go of thinking about them. So this Pharaoh has something to do even with Moses. It has, honestly, that's what it feels like. It all started then. And so I'm going to him and I'm touching him. He sort of became very violent. He didn't know how to tolerate what had taken place. He didn't even know what to do. He didn't know how to think through it. He became really just deranged in the mind. because it was not appropriate, it was unacceptable what had happened, as far as he was concerned. It just, that never should have happened to him. And then everything that did happen, which was the loss of his son that gave him so much joy, was his Eye of Ra, was the sun, sort of at the tip of the pyramid. It sort of just was like vandalized his soul. It just vandalized his ability to think clearly, even. He's still sort of sitting in this throne underneath. So is Falcon Bird coming to him to share a message with him. I don't know what to say right now. So, they're speaking in words, and it's too fast. Something like, I can't remember. It was just... This is why I do these things by writing them down, because then I don't get paused out by how long it takes to speak. They're saying I'm still speaking with clarity, and therefore that is okay. Things do go unnoticed even now as I'm going through these images. There's things that I've seen that I have not pointed out. But that has not destroyed the value of the wisdom. This wisdom needs to be shared. Human beings need to know the truth about Egypt. I'm sort of like, how can I even know? I don't know how I'm supposed to be able to just do this. Or even sort of, how do I know that I'm sharing the truth? I'm a human being too. I question everything. So whatever I share, you just ask yourself, what is the value of it? What does it mean to me? What do I want to believe? And then therefore that is what you get to choose, to believe what you want. So we're still down here, and he seems to be acknowledging that that I'm here now with him, and even touching him on the shoulder to let him know he doesn't have to be thinking anymore, to release him from this echo of imprisonment within his own thoughts, in conjunction to what had taken place. I still can't confirm that he was the actual one that did it, but everything seems to point to yes, that he did. But it won't quite manifest that he was exactly the specific one. It almost feels like there were many specific ones working for this, in conjunction with this. Even the snake was. The evil side of the snake. So the snake has one eye that sees with the light and one eye that sees with the dark. Snake has dark and light, forked tongue, tongue that speaks wisdom, tongue that speaks from the devils. That's the only way I can describe it. Kind of creepy, But that is the balance. The balance is life. The balance is death. The balance is chaos. The balance is harmony. That is the balance. There's always been the balance. You can't live forever. In the physical, you will eventually die, and then you will be reborn. And that is the way it goes. Even giant catastrophes like this do get reborn into the light and now manifest change and renewal and different things to take place. Johannes has something to do with this, but it's not come to me yet what it is. And I don't know what Apple has to do with this either. This is just the wisdom that is being shared. If you've watched the other videos, you would know I'm doing a rebirth journey for Johannes, and then my soul, and then his soul, and the soul of this alien being, Apple, is all in conjunction in this triangle, which is a pyramid. And so triangle is sort of a reflection of this sort of superior connection between three souls, and then three souls to be reborn together. But I'm still not seeing, they're not showing me any other wisdom related to this. I'm having to make separate videos because it's just so long. I don't even know what a rebirth is in conjunction with this, because it's like historical data. They say the more I speak about this, the more relief Johannes will find in his own soul. and then my soul, and then Apple's soul. Even Apple's soul feels a lot better already. A lot of weight lifted, a lot of relief that this is taking place now, finally. He's been waiting for me to choose to work on this rebirth journey for Johannes for a few weeks. So for me to touch the containment center of souls, basically, release them, is sort of relieving to his soul even. The more I speak, then the more relief all of these souls will receive. So I'm still with this Egyptian guy in the dark tunnel underneath the ground. He's not in deep thought. He's just sort of looking up straight ahead and then not thinking. I guess he's standing up and he's walking. He was always motivated. As soon as he got an idea, he was instantly motivated to act upon it. And whatever his ideas were really, it was like that he could hear the voice of his own gods, and then he would instantly act upon what his gods had spoken to him. And then he would do as they had said. He always followed in alignment with what was asked of him from his own spiritual version of the truth. And he was always acting upon that, and that is why he became so just derailed and confused by what had happened, literally by Moses being there. This is the same guy. And then his son dying. He started making a decision. He had to choose to alter those who he was listening to. And he couldn't do it. He actually could not do that. He could not choose to listen to any other voices of wisdom from the spirit realm. He could only choose to listen to those voices, the voices that his ancestors chose to listen to as well. So for him to align with a different voice was very disturbing for him, especially a voice that was able to manifest such change and even such terror because of the sort of way Moses had brought about these epidemics and stuff. This was all real. This all really did happen. And he couldn't fathom how that was possible. How could this man accomplish such great feats, and that his gods could not accomplish the same for him? And he refused to let go of his sort of alignment with them, sort of false gods, but they weren't. There was sort of a time for their voice, and then a time for change, a new voice to take over, in order to change the history there. And then the history ended up getting handed over in a very dark way, but he sort of couldn't let go of that. Now he is choosing to walk a new pathway. He actually has been waiting a very long time in sort of this own realm of his own mind and contemplation. He's not been able to get out of it. Is sort of trapped in an echo, will not be able to release from the echo until he chooses to let go of the sort of alignment with the voices of his ancestral spirit guides, or whatever they were. The voices of other gods was what it was. And so he's walking and sort of pondering the idea of allowing himself to bend or break the stick of the past in order to choose a different voice of enlightenment. It's sort of, he feels the freedom now to do that. He's been waiting a very long time to release from this. I'm asking if this is Johannes that... all I'm seeing is that he went into the light, and now he is standing in the desert of Egypt, looking across the desert at what is there now, which is just a desert. It didn't look like that at the time when he was there. It wasn't covered in all this sand. It was different. Had a different sort of reflection, but they won't show me what it looked like at that time. It looked different, though. That is what they're saying to me. It's sort of like everything is buried in the sand to his eyes now, when before it was a mighty empire. And now it is sort of not what it used to be. So he's looking at this and contemplating still. He's sort of like this very contemplative man. He's walking in another direction now. he sort of has this sort of like instantaneously he hears or thinks of something and then he just acts. So now he's in motion again. He's moving to do something. This has to do with the falcon again. He takes wisdom from this falcon sort of bird with this sort of eyesight from above. He's just walking. Footprints in the sand even, and he's evaporating with the wind blowing through the deserts of Egypt. But it's really sandy where we are. It is like a desert. I'm not even getting to see pyramids where we're at. It's just covered in sand that blows, even loose sand. But he is no longer he's let go. He's walking a new pathway even. And that is in the light of the sun that is at the top of the pyramid. He's actually going into the sunlight itself. Something about the pyramid allows souls to be reborn too, but in the light. Not trapped in the pyramid, but there's sort of a gift that sits above the pyramid itself. The soul can go into there to experience like a renewal of the expression. So he's released from his sort of expression of deep thought, and now he's in this sort of sunlight. He's him and his bird together, sort of like they chose to let go now. They're saying so much of the Egyptian past is healing because of all of this work. I know I'm just like one little person here, and I don't really know all the profoundness. I don't really know how to relate to all of this, but there's something big, a big deal about all of this. That he is now finding relief now in the light, just like that demon, just like all human beings now are going to find relief through a huge rebirth of all the souls even across the globe. A lot of light is sort of like helping so many souls right now be transformed in the light, and then even human beings just sort of happy across the planet, just jumping up and down, smiling in ways that they haven't felt this kind of relief or renewal in a very long time. In order to experience that, this sort of compartment had to be opened. I'm still not understanding it all. They still haven't made sense of my sort of snake identity in this. I don't know. It was only in order for me to comprehend that my soul has has a dual identity of both sides. And that is okay. That is good and acceptable. That is the identity my soul chooses. My soul chooses to be to have homes in two realms, homes in the dark and homes in the light, even to have a foot in both places, but to be sort of an expression of sort of two identities. A snake has to be of two identities. It can't just be one identity. It can't just be an angel. It has to be an angel and a devil. It has to be the venom and that poisons and the venom that heals. Saying a lot of people will not relate or find comfort in this wisdom that you share about the snake. And so if they do not find comfort in that wisdom, then that is their choice, choosing to find comfort in whatever it is their soul needs. But I speak the truth, even the truth that would create discomfort in others. I'm not ashamed or shy to share whatever it is I see, even if it is very disturbing or derailing. Even if it makes me look like a bad person, I would still share, because there's wisdom and value to everything. So, this is the part where I just stop. This has just like been this, I don't even know anymore. I can't even keep up with half of the things I just experienced. And I still don't feel like this is done yet. I don't understand it. This is going to be a weird, freaky thing I'm just going to share. Do whatever you want with it. This is how I understand it. This is how the wisdom comes to me. Believe whatever you want to believe. This is real somehow. There's some sort of value to this wisdom. What I've shared is a real deal. So I'm just going to share more of Johannes's awesome Egyptian piano music, and then we'll just keep rolling as I'm able to. But the more this sort of speaks out of me about this, the more healing that is experienced. It's sort of like a super rebirth, but I don't really understand it because it's not a normal rebirth of soul. Like, rebirth of soul is me going into the soul spiritual atmosphere and then being shown very specific compartments within that specific soul, rebirthing that specific soul. But this is sort of like a massive soul rebirth. But it has to do with sort of historical wisdom from Egypt. But I still don't understand what Apple, the aliens sort of relationship is. Even still, but it will come to light in time. Sort of a different version of channeling healing and wisdom, more so than just for us, our three souls, for more than us. So that's all I'm going to share for now. Been busy with this work. So anyway, that is all for today, and thank you for watching.